All right. The 2025 NBA draft has come and gone. It's now in the books, and the Jazz have made their much anticipated selections. 2 first-round picks, 1 second-round pick, and they have also signed a player to a two-way contract, two-way NBA contract. So let's go ahead and discuss what happened, and let's hope for the best.
Jazz Smack, your source for information and analysis about the Utah Jazz and NBA basketball. Jazz Smack is a community for passionate Utah Jazz NBA fans.
So the Jazz had the 5th pick. They had the 21st pick. They traded that 21st pick to move up 3 spots to the 18th pick, and they also had 1 second-round pick at number 53. Now, obviously, the Jazz tried to put themselves in a position to have a high draft choice this year with all the losing they purposely did last year. They ended up with the 5th pick, and there was so much anticipation for this draft choice that I don't know if it's possible to live up to expectations of what the fan base actually wants. But I think the Jazz got one of their guys that they had targeted going into this season. So from that standpoint, I think the franchise is sitting in a fairly good position at least from the management's view of how it turned out. Now, whatever you say about Ace Bailey, there's all sorts of rumors that have been going around and things said about the kid, and some of those may be true, some of those may be manufactured, about how he was refusing workouts and it seems like maybe he did get some bad advice from his representation. But that's unknown for sure. So I'm not going to throw the kid under the bus. And he is a kid. I mean, this kid is barely out of high school. He still has some maturing to do, and it very well he could have received some bad advice. But I don't think that's going to change anything. I think he's going to get to Salt Lake. I think he's going to like it there. I think he's going to like the environment. The Jazz have a lot of young players that he can bond with, and I think he will bond fairly well with some of the players that are already on the roster. I don't foresee any issue at all. I think he's going to be happy in Salt Lake, and he certainly has opportunity to carve out some significant minutes, whereas had he been placed on a different team somewhere else, the situation for him getting meaningful minutes may not have been the case. So from that standpoint, I think he's in a good situation. I think he will eventually, in the not too distant future, I think he will realize that. I mean, as soon as he gets to Salt Lake and gets in the summer league and sees all the facilities and all that, I think he's going to be actually really happy in a short amount of time, because the Jazz have so many young players, and some of those young players I think he's going to get along with really well, and I think he's going to be happy here. So, but from a basketball standpoint, Ace Bailey obviously has some very unique measurables. He has some unique basketball skills. I think, and that's why he was projected to be a top 2 pick going into this season. And prior to Cooper Flagg reclassifying, he was considered the top high school player in his class. Now, obviously, Cooper Flagg, when he reclassified and he ended up at Duke at the same time that Ace Bailey's at Rutgers, things changed. And also Dylan Harper turned out to be considered a higher value prospect than Ace Bailey. And so Dylan Harper was selected second. Now, Ace Bailey, he slid to 5th, and some of that may have been that he received some poor representation and it turned some teams off, or maybe some teams were just looking for other things. But 5th is obviously still a very highly drafted player with a lot of expectations. And I think the number one thing that Ace needs to work on is he just needs to learn how to play the game. Now, he has all these skills, he has all these measurables, but the feel aspect is where he needs to improve. And I don't believe that he's ever going to be the player that leads the Jazz to the promised land. I don't think he's that guy. I think the Jazz still obviously need a number one guy, a guy who's going to be the team leader. I think the Jazz need that. I actually think that Walter Clayton Jr. is in a better position to be that guy than Ace Bailey, and certainly in the near term. But Ace Bailey can play a big role in a really good Jazz team if it all goes well in his development. And that means an elite shot maker, a good defender with length, those type of things. He needs to improve his ball handling and his shot selection, but he obviously has the ability to make difficult shots. He has nice shooting mechanics. He shoots it well. He just needs to learn how to play a better brand of basketball than what the AAU circuit teaches you, or being on a bad team at Rutgers. There are just some areas of growth that aren't even really skill related, at least not what you would consider a tangible skill, but it's more the cerebral part of the game is where Ace can really improve and help the Jazz grow as a franchise. And that's what I hope to see. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does in Summer League. I don't anticipate Ace Bailey's numbers being great this first year. I mean, he's just a kid, and he has a lot of growth to do in maturing as an individual, as a basketball player, understanding the game better, all those things. So this is a project that's going to take a year, 2 years, 3 years to where he is a productive player if he gets there. I think that he will get there, but there are obviously no guarantees in this world. Everybody going into this draft was saying, and I kind of agree with this, that there's a massive high risk, high reward situation with Ace Bailey, and a lot of it just depends on him. How does he embrace it? And we will see that. And I am so looking forward to seeing him play in Summer League. I mean, it's going to be great, both in Salt Lake and in Las Vegas. I want to see him play, and hopefully I have an opportunity to get him to see him play in person. And we'll see what happens, but it's going to be interesting. So going into the draft, there were a couple of players that I was interested in the Jazz and hopeful that the Jazz would select. One of those players was Walter Clayton Jr. I really wanted the Jazz to get Walter Clayton Jr. on their roster, and I was so happy that they made a trade in order to move up 3 spots to secure Walter Clayton Jr. Prior to, the rumor was that Miami was going to select him at 20. So I'm thrilled with that. And I think that Walter Clayton Jr. can help the Jazz a lot. I think that he's mature. He's obviously 22. He's more mature than most of the players drafted these days. He obviously was the main cog in that Florida team that went through the NCAA tournament to the championship game and then actually won the title. I mean, he was the clear leader of that team. Now he's 6'2". He's more of a combo guard than he is a true point guard. But Rick Pitino really turned him into that. He was more of a pass first player, and then Pitino convinced him to shoot the ball more and become more of a scorer, and he did that, and he excelled in that role. So that was obviously a good move by Pitino, and it got him drafted in the first round, which is a huge accomplishment. So So I'm really happy with it. I mean, his shooting mechanics, he can obviously shoot the ball. His shooting mechanics, he has a really compact stroke. He can shoot it from distance effortlessly, big time distance. I mean, and he shoots it so smoothly and so quickly and so effortlessly. He's exceptional in change of pace. Um, he has a really good feel for that. I mean, it's it's going to help the Jazz immensely to have somebody with that maturity and that type of mature game, just going into his rookie season. He's in a much better position to help the Jazz win games, and I know that's not what the Jazz are intending to do, because they really want that pick that conveys to OKC next year, that they want that lottery pick. So winning games still not the thing, but Walter Clayton Jr. is in a much better position to help the Jazz win games right now than Ace Bailey is. Ace Bailey is more of a project player than Walter Clayton Jr. is at this point. Obviously, the upside of Ace is the reason why he was picked fifth rather than what he is at this moment in time. But that Walter Clayton Jr. pick pleased me immensely, and I am really looking forward to seeing him play in Summer League. I mean, it's going to be great. And the second round pick, I don't have time to watch much college basketball. I catch a little bit here and there, but I can't recall seeing a single minute of Wisconsin basketball this past season. So I don't know Tonje. I don't know anything about him, and I will perfectly admit that. And we'll see what he does in Summer League. Again, in the same way with the two-way contract that the St. John's kid that they signed to a two-way contract, R.J. Lewis Jr., again, it'll be interesting to see how he plays in Summer League. So all four of these guys should certainly play Summer League. I'm not aware of any of them having injury issues at this point. I saw the quote from Avery Bradley that he anticipates all the drafted players to participate in Summer League, and I certainly would also anticipate that RJ is a Summer League participant as well, and there will obviously be other players on that roster that the Jazz signed to, to play Summer League on their team. And in addition to, I'm not sure that I looked on the Summer League website, and so far the rosters, as of today, the rosters were not up for Summer League, so I don't know who's going to be participating, but obviously Filipowski should be there, Collier should be there, Cody Williams should be there. I think that Bryce probably participates. So those are just some of the players that should be there in addition to all the draftees from this season. So it should be really entertaining to watch those Jazz Summer League games, because there are going to be a lot of guys playing in those games that will be on the roster next year. Now, how many games do each of those players play? Do they, for the second year guys, do they only play in Salt Lake or what have you? I mean, Filipowski, Collier, Bryce is obviously in his third year if he plays. So we have and Cody. So I don't know. I some of those guys might play a lot, and some of them might only play a game or two. We'll see how it shakes out. But again, there's going to be a lot of minutes played by Jazz players who will be on the Jazz roster next year in the Summer League. So there's not going to just be one or two guys. There are going to be multiple guys. And so that should make those Summer League games very interesting to watch. And we should all be looking forward to those games. I mean, I look forward to those games, to the Summer League games, as much as I do the regular season games. In all honesty, I find those Summer League games extraordinarily interesting. And it's not just the Jazz games. I mean, some of those, I like watching the rookies play, and I think it's fascinating. And I've always felt that. I mean, I've been going to the game. I started going to those games when they were played at East High School, like the Jazz Pro-Am, and it's continued on to, the games in the Delta Center, the games at the community colleges. I mean, wherever those games are played, it doesn't matter. I mean, there used to be the Orlando Summer League. I mean, there were other summer leagues. There's still obviously the one in Sacramento and the one in Utah, and then the main one in Vegas where all the teams participate. But I encourage you to watch those games. I think you can, even if you don't have ESPN, I think you can just subscribe to ESPN Plus for a month, for $15 or something like that, and watch all the summer league games and have them all recorded. And I think it's very worth it. It's not a lot of money to be able to gain access to all those games. So anyway, that's the situation with the draft. Those are my thoughts. And like I said, Ace is a several year project trying to get him to understand how to play the game of basketball better than he has played it in the past. And that's the big key with him. He has a whole lot of skill. He has great measurables, but he just needs some seasoning, and he needs to embrace that. And that's the key. How hard is he going to work, and how well is he going to listen, and how is he going to embrace it? And that's the key with him. And it's going to be fascinating to watch. However it works out, it's going to be fascinating to watch, and I think we can all look forward to it. So let's see what happens. I mean, Summer League starts in a little over a week, and we will see how things go from there. But anyway, let's go ahead and call it a night, and I appreciate everybody watching on YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe, and you can also follow us on X at JazzSmack. And I hope that everybody has a great night, and please follow along and go on this journey, because it's going to be a fun one. Good night, everybody.